Okay, so in gorilla tag, vertical movement. It can be really simple just to learn even one of these mechanics. 70% of the people know how to wall climb already, and that's vertical movement. And if you can do it fast, then you'll be soaring up these walls and no lava monkeys will be able to catch you. But wall running and wall climbing aren't the only ones. Okay, so like I said, wall climbing is by far the easiest method of going straight up. Most people know how to do this, and so if you don't, you'll be far behind. First, you want to make a triangle formation above your head with your arms. And then, you're going to jump to the wall and let your hands stick. If you hit with the front of your palms here, you should be able to stick sometimes for a long time and then sometimes for just half a second. And then when you stick, when you hear that stone noise, you want to pull your arm down and left because we're moving to the right. If we were on this side, we'd move down and right. And so, if you get that movement down, you should launch yourself to the other side of the wall. And if you do that, you should be able to do it on the other side. And if you keep doing that all the way up, you'll be at slippery walls. And after you get the movement down, maybe you'll only be able to do one at first, and you'll mess up the second one like this. But after a bit of practice, you'll be able to do it really fast. The next movement to go straight up is wall running and Lucio running. Lucio running, if you've just started the game maybe like a few weeks ago, this is going to be impossible for you. So don't try it unless you're an advanced player. But wall running can be quite simple. I always teach monkeys by saying that this part of your hand, if you look at it from the top, it's a straight line here. And so is the wall. And so you want to make them two lines parallel. And then when they hit, you can bring your hand downwards and behind you. And if you do that, you should move forwards and not away from the wall. So it's like you're scooping the wall. And so if you can do that at least a little while, and you can stay off the ground, move around that corner, then you can try and learn vertical warning. Vertical warning is like normal warning, but you're not doing the scooping anymore. You're just hitting straight down. And if you're able to do it well, and it does take a lot of practice because I can barely do this well anyway, you can go quite high up on just one of these wall segments. Lucio running, however, is really complicated. I don't know how he came up with this, but he says to put it in a formation like this. So it should be sort of an arch. And then you're going to move your hands up and down like this. But you need to do it really fast. And this will hurt your hands, doing it so fast. And then have your hands sort of here so that both your hands can hit. So you need to be looking into the wall a little bit and where you want to go, which is that way. But there's probably so many more tutorials that can explain warning and Lucio running better. So just take a look around. Okay, coming back to the big tree. How I showed me wall running straight up that tree, I'm going to be explaining kind of the mechanics of how that works. So first, I'll show it on a tree like this. And people call this many things like spider climbing, bear climbing. It doesn't really matter. But it's kind of like wall climbing, but just straight up. So if we imagine that this was a straight wall, I want to put my hands at that same angle as the wall. Like this. So like if you were going up these ramps, to go fast up these ramps, you need to keep your hands at that same angle. And that's the same for bear climbing. So of course, bear climbing on this isn't really any point because you don't fall down it. But for this, it's very useful. And what it is like with wall climbing, you're just sliding your hand across that angle. And it should launch you just straight up. Because most people, when they try this, they're going to be hitting like this. And they're going to move back. And if you move back, you can't hit the tree. And so what you've got to try and do is keep it at that angle so that you don't move away from the tree. And like I said with wall climbing, wall running, when you first try this, you probably only be able to do it like 2 times in a row. But as you practice it and get better at staying close to the tree, you can run away from monkeys super quick. I use 2 routes on this big tree, and I'll show you them now. So you can either warn all the way up to that big branch there, but that's really difficult. One easy way is 1, 2, 3 bear climbs, hit off the side of that to this branch, then you can hit up here. And this is a great spot to be. You can go across that branch, you can go to ninja walls, you can really do anything. And another, if you just come around this part of the tree next to ramp, and you'll see a lot of monkeys do this because it can be really fast, especially if you've just come falling from one of them trees up there. I always like to go here. So 1 bear climb to get up to this platform, hit again to this branch, and then you're going to have to do 2, which can be quite difficult, to get to here. And you should always note that when bear climbing, your last bear climb hit, when you know you're going to get to your destination, you should hit back. Because if you hit back or to the side, you'll get to where you need to go. And so here, I'm not going straight up the tree and grabbing it. I'm hitting at a sort of angle to get to this branch. And then the same here. And because this branch is going that way, that second hit can be as far back as you want. And that's bear climbing. The final method of going upwards is universal routes and scaling. And this can be really useful because if you're down on the ground here and you've got lava monkeys chasing you, if they can't do this, they're going to be so confused when you just go all the way up to this branch in one go. And you'll see them all trying to pinch climb up this tree. And so how to do this is similar to the big tree over there, but just with less space. You have to bear climb up this. And so the best way to practice this is to go to a branch just like this, which isn't that high up, and just try doing 1 bear climb and getting up here. So jumping to the tree and getting up here. And you can do that to here. And as soon as you can do 1 of them, try and get 2 in. So if you see, my first bear climb is always going to be straight up. And then my second one, I hit back a little bit. And then I just sort of reach my arm round like that in a circle motion to get onto this. Because you're coming from underneath. A little tip for this scaling movement is universal routes. And so you'll see that this is the lowest branch down on the tree. And so this is called branch number 1. That branch over there is the next highest. So it's branch number 2. The branch above me there is 3. And you'll see that this is the same on every single one. There's one behind there, and there's the crooked sort of one that's above on each one. Up there, on this one, up there. They're just sort of rotated, and some are a lot bigger than others, as you can see. And so to use these to your advantage, you can use things called universal routes. The reason why they're universal is because they work for every tree. Except from some exceptions, like treehouse tree is a bit different. But overall, you'll be able to use this anywhere. And a lot of what new players use, and so many people use this because it's just such an easy route, is to go to branch number 1 here and jump, big jump. And if you can't make that sometimes, like on a really big tree like that one, sometimes it's impossible to make that. And so you can hit off the tree backwards to over here, do a light hit, not too hard, and you should get to here. And then you can jump to branch number 5. That's 4. This is 5. Jump up to here. And if you can do that quite fast, then from here, you can use some branches in other places. But this is just a quick way to get up a tree. Because if you're on the ground and you're running away, staying on the ground, you're going to get tugged. No matter how good you are at the game, lava monkeys will always be faster. But if you can outsmart them and be able to climb these trees way faster in different ways, then you're going to be able to do it better. And using this scaling method, it can be really difficult, but the quickest way up the tree is definitely this one. There's 3 branches that you use for this one. And like I showed before, 2 bear climb hits to this one here. It depends on how big the tree is. From that gap to that gap on that tree, you might have to use like 3 of them. And then 1 last hit here. And there's a last mechanic you need if you want to climb the whole tree. It's called hook climbing, but you mostly see new players being taught it over there, so you probably already know it. Grip around the tree, pull down with both hands till you get to the very top, put one hand on, and you're all the way up the tree. Going back to this first route, you can, instead of going a branch 5, you can hit off here and go up to here, which could juke some monkeys out if they try and run across that. You've gone up here now, and you can go around the tree like that. That can be very useful. But one thing to focus on, if I'm coming from the tree this way, I have a route here. And so you want to learn every single route. If I come from the tree this way, there's a route to go up the tree this way. Obviously, these can be quite difficult for new players to learn. But if you can learn a route from every angle of a tree, then no matter where you're running from monkeys from, you'll be able to get up it from any angle. And that's the tutorial.